We're starting a video series on Great Abs for Life, the Great Ab Workout. This is a series of the book I wrote with the one and only Lance Armstrong and just Grandmaster Ted Gambordella. Let's get started because the abs are obviously what everybody wants. And what I want to tell you is I want to suggest you do at least 4 sets of 20 of each of these exercises. But don't start without you consulting a doctor or something. But let's get started with the basic exercises, and let's go through them and learn why they work and how to do them right. These are traditional leg lifts, and you always keep your hands under your butt, under your bottom when you do your leg lifts. This keeps you from putting too much undue pressure on your back, and it definitely tightens up your abs and works them better. Now you'll notice here Lance is wearing some heavy tennis shoes. This actually makes the leg lifts a lot harder to do because the shoes weigh about a pound. So he's going to do hundreds of these when he does his leg lifts. And if you're doing 100 and picking up 100 pounds, you're picking up 1,000. You're picking up 1,000 pounds. So it can become significant amount of weight that you're doing by just having those shoes on. So you might want to consider doing your leg lifts without shoes on till you get warmed up, until you get a little bit stronger and better. Now you can put your head on the ground or off the ground. I like to keep it on the ground. That way you don't strain your neck at all. We don't want to strain our back. We definitely don't want to strain our neck. And you don't want to bring them all the way down. So many people do their leg lifts where they'll actually touch their legs on the ground. And sometimes they'll even bounce them off the ground. Well, that's just totally wrong. You don't want to bring them all the way down, and you don't want to bring them 100% up on a traditional leg lift. You only want to bring them up about 45 degrees and back down to about 18 degrees. So you're going to pump them. You're going to do it up a little bit, down a little bit, up a little bit, down a little bit. And you can do these slow, and you can do it fast. But the thing you want to do is you want to do a lot of them. Leg lifts work your lower 2 groups of your stomach muscles. When you see someone with a six-pack ab, I don't know why they call it six-packs other than there's 3 muscles on each side, because you're really only seeing 3 muscles, 4 muscles. So, but the bottom 2 groups of muscles are only done by doing the leg lift type of exercise. They're not controlled, or you won't get any benefits by doing the sit-ups. That won't make your flat lower stomach. So you see so many people that don't do leg lifts right that they're going to get a little big lower stomach around their belly. Leg lifts are hard to do. It takes a while to practice. I like to do them for 3 minutes at a time, where I'll do, let's look at a clock and do them for 3 minutes at a time. Or sometimes I'll do sets of 50 and rest 10 seconds, do another 50. And so I do 200 to 300 leg lifts a day, and you need to build yourself up to doing that. But this is the traditional leg lift. You want to make sure you don't go all the way down and you don't come all the way up. Now we're going to do what's known as a bent knee leg lift. Now this is a little bit harder. It's a little bit different. And what you're doing here is you're raising your legs up and you're bringing them up about parallel to the ground. And then you're bringing them back towards your chest and then back out. So you can go out a little bit further if you like. You can go out a little bit further and you can come back in. But what you're doing is you're actually squeezing your stomach muscles together there. So you're really getting a little different. When I did the leg lift before, you're going to only do it 60 degrees up from the bottom. Now my legs are already up. So just holding them right there is hard to do. Just holding them with my leg parallel that's a hard exercise to do. But what I want to do is I'm holding them there, and now I'm going to crunch them back towards my head. I'm going to hold them there. I'm going to crunch them back towards my head. And you want to squeeze it as you do it. So you're going to crunch them back and squeeze it back in. Squeeze it back in and crunch them back out. How many of these you want to do? 50 to 100. You might be able to build up. You're only going to do 10 to 20. And you want to rest. So if you can't, if you only do 10 to 20, you're really not getting much exercise for your stomach. So you want to do your 10 to 20, and then you can rest, and then you can come back and you can do another set of 10 to 20. So that's how you continue to build up as you work your leg lifts. This is called the bent knee leg lift, and you want to do this for a good 10, 20 times. Now we're doing the traditional crunch. The basic crunch. This is what you see so many people doing in the gym, but so many people tend to do it wrong. He has his hands behind his head, and he's also got his legs bent, but they're not all the way up to his butt. and you're going to crunch your stomach. You're going to crunch your stomach and try and curl yourself up. Now, if you can come all the way up, you're not doing a crunch. You're doing some other kind of exercise. It's really not a crunch. You should really only be able to get your shoulders a little bit off the ground and maybe 6 or 7 inches of your back off the ground. That's a crunch. So you're popping it and squeezing it and crunching it with your stomach muscle. Do not jerk your head. If you jerk your head, you're going to hurt your neck, and you're going to get you're going to get a big neck muscle, and you're going to strain your neck muscle. So you don't want to jerk your head. You want to just crunch up and squeeze. Crunch up and squeeze. There's so many people that do their crunches wrong. They come up too far, or they don't come up enough. All they're really doing, the most common mistake I see in the clubs whenever I'm watching people do crunches is they're really just moving their neck. They're literally not moving their stomach at all. They're just moving their neck and the top of their shoulders. You've got to get the back off the ground. As you can see here, his shoulders are clearly off the ground. If you don't get your shoulders clearly off the ground, you're not doing a traditional crunch. You're not going to get the benefits. How many of those should you do? I like to say you should do 3 sets of 20, or 3 sets of 30, 3 sets of 50, or 4 sets of 20, 30. And I want you to do 200 to 300 sit-ups a day. So if you want to do 100 of them here, 200 of them here, that's a good place to get started. But make sure you keep your legs down, and you want to not strain your neck. I want you to crunch and twist with your stomach muscles only. Now we're doing a sophisticated crunch, and this is a bent knee crunch. Now, remember when we did that second type of leg lift, we had our legs bent 40 or 90 degrees, a right angle. Now my legs are bent and they're nice and square at the top, so they're nice and flat up there at the top. Now I'm going to do my crunches with my legs all the way up in the air, and that makes a big difference. It makes a big difference when your legs are all the way up in the air, and you try to when you try to crunch it up. It's just very hard to do, and it gives you a lot better workout. You want to make sure you squeeze that stomach, and curl your arms up, get your back off the ground, and try to get towards your knees. Now you notice he's not going halfway up. If you're doing it halfway up, you're doing a different exercise, and you're not doing the crunch. So you have your knees bent, and you're going to just roll forward, get those shoulders off the ground, and roll it forward, and come back down. How many of these you want to do? Do 20, 30, 40, 50, as many as you can, and then rest, and then do another set of as many as you can. Because I want you doing 300 sit-ups a day, so let's do 50 here. Here's one you've probably never seen. This is another variation of the crunch. This is a cross-legged side crunch. So I'm doing 2 things different here. I only have one hand behind my head, and I have my legs crossed, nice, completely parallel. I have one leg on top of the other, just like I'm sitting down with one leg on top of the other, except I'm laying on my back. Now you're going to curl up and twist. But the secret is, what I'm doing here is I'm twisting. I'm not curling up straight. And I'm twisting my body. So as you see here, Lance is twisting his right side towards his right leg. So it's just twisting it. His left arm is down there. His back is off the ground, the good normal 6 inches for his crunch, but he's twisting. So now he's working his oblique muscles. He's just concentrating on one specific side of their body, one specific side of his body. So he's crunching it and twisting it onto that side. He's crunching it and twisting it onto his right side. He wants him to do this 10, 20, 30 times. If you can get it up to 50, that's a lot when you're doing this type of a hard crunch. So if you can do 20, that's great. And then you're going to cross your leg to the other side, and I want you to crunch and twist and get it up again. I want you to do 20 to the right side, 20 to the left side. Then you can alternate that by coming back to the middle and doing 20 in the middle. So you see, you've made 2 exercises here really good. You're doing a left side crunch, where I'm really crunching it up, twisting it towards my knee. I'm really crunching it up. Then I'm going to do a right side crunch. I'm really crunching it up. Then I go back to this exercise and put it in the middle, and I'm going to do 30 to 50 right there. So now I've really done 100 sit-ups, 100 crunches, and I've worked my left side, and I've worked my right side. And you're really going to feel this, folks. You really can feel it going onto one specific side. So you're really going to feel this crunch a lot. Now we're going to do it a little bit different it's really almost about twice as hard. This is a cross-legged side crunch where I'm going to touch my other side. When we did the crunch here, he's got his right arm and he's going to try and touch his right knee. Now you're not going to be able to touch it because you don't get far enough, but you'll notice he's got his right arm going towards his right knee. And when they go to the left side, you're going to have your left arm going towards your left side. So it's very, very different. This one here, this one is just much, much harder. Now I'm going to take my right arm and I'm going to go towards my left knee, or I'm going to take my left arm and I'm going to go towards my right knee. This one is a side twisting, double crossed mamaluca. You're just going to really feel the crunching, and this is very much harder than the first one. When you go up straight on one side, or even on bending on one side, it's not nearly as much work, or it's not as hard on your body as you're doing it this way. Here I'm twisting and trying to go to the other side, and you really feel the difference. After you do 10 or 20 of these, you're really going to feel the difference. It's really crunching and twisting that body a lot. So it's a great exercise. It requires a lot of stomach strength, and it requires a lot of ab strength and a core strength. Now you notice he keeps his other hand flat on the ground, and he's twisting with his stomach, not pulling on his neck. This is not a neck exercise. It's not an neck exercise. This is an exercise you're doing using your stomach muscles. And I'm twisting and crunching. Now I'm trying to go across to my other side. I want you to try and do 10 to 20 on the left, 10 to 20 on the right. Then you can go back to the middle and do 10 to 20. And you're really going to feel the difference between this crunch and the last two crunches. Now we're going to even get it harder. You know, why Lance has such a great six-pack is that he's doing so many different crunching and twisting exercises. Here we're going to actually do a knee lift, cross body, crunch. So if you just laid on your back and just lifted your knee up, that's a good stomach exercise. Just laying on your back alone and lifting your knee up is a good stomach exercise. Laying on your back and just lifting one side and a crunch is a good stomach exercise. Just laying on your back and lifting one side with a crunch is a very good stomach exercise. Now you're doing both of them. I'm actually bringing my knee up, and you don't put it all the way down to the ground. I'm bringing it up and I'm crunching and twisting at the same time. So it's a really vigorous exercise. It's a really vigorous exercise. You're really doing it. You're going to just feel that your stomach folding over like an accordion because it's so vigorous and so hard to do. And you're not going to do again but 10 or 20 of these, 30 of them at the most. And then you're going to go to the other side. But you're getting double benefit here. Just lifting my knee up and pulling it towards my stomach is a great stomach exercise. Now I'm lifting my knee up and twisting across and trying to touch my head to my knee, and that just doubles the effectiveness of it. Just going to double the effectiveness of it. You're really going to like this exercise. Remember to alternate sides and don't pull on your neck. We're not doing neck exercises. We're doing ab exercises. So don't pull on your neck. Get it up there and twist it and just crunch it in. Crunch it in. Do 30 to the right, 30 to the left. And you're really, really going to feel that. You're going to like that a lot. Now I'm doing it a little bit different. Here's an example of a twisting crunch where my knee is up higher and I'm twisting and I'm going to the other side, and I'm really overemphasizing my turning to the right and my turning to the left. Before, the other one this is basically the same exercise, but I'm really overemphasizing on this one. My knee is up a little higher to start with, and I'm crunching it up, and I'm really overemphasizing where I'm twisting and lifting it. Now, and while you're twisting, you want to crunch the abs down and really squeeze them into each other. And I don't ever see anybody in the club besides me doing this. You can do this on a flat bench where you'll lay back on the bench where it's on a slight incline to give you a little bit of an angle, and you just crunch up and bring your knee up and crunch to the right and crunch to the left. And I do that 3 different ways, where I'm laying flat on the bench and I'll just crunch straight up and bring my right knee to my right arm. I'll crunch straight up, bring my left knee to my left arm, and then I'll do that where I'm twisting, crunching, and the twisting, crunching is just doubly effective. It's doubly strong. You're going to feel it so much more in your abs, and you're really going to feel it in your obliques. So it's a doubly good exercise. I can't overemphasize how much this is going to build and tighten and make the side of your, I get a lot of little bitty ripples on the side of my obliques. So it looks like I have another set of ribs down there because you've done so many of these twisting crunches and going to the side. And you can get that same thing too. Just practice your twisting, practice your crunching, and go to your right and go to your left.